this is Rob.
And I'm Dave.
And welcome to RB&D Reviews. Today we're going to be reviewing the sort of runaway hit, Real Steel. It stars Hugh Jackman as this sort of manager for boxing robots. And one day he gets a son that he really didn't pay much attention to and wasn't really a part of his life. And they both kind of get together and they... it's sort of like an action movie with about boxing robots and the two of them trying to bond together. And Dave, let's start with you. What were your thoughts on the movie?
I enjoyed it. I mean, it's kind of like it's basically one of those like what if films to me, because basically it like shows what would happen if they outlawed human boxing, where humans couldn't box anymore, and it turned to robots and all that, so that robots, if they get like beat up and everything, nobody gets hurt and all that. And they can do a lot more, because a lot of times you'd see in this movie also they were doing like wrestling moves as well, which is not allowed in regular boxing. You're only allowed to punch and move around.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that itself is a metaphor for, you know, a lot of people are saying machines are taking places of human jobs, so I guess you could look at it as a metaphor for that. Because what I liked about it, you mentioned about a what if in the future. What I liked about this movie was, usually when this movie's supposed to be in the future, but what I liked was they didn't overdo it on elements of the future, like flying cars and robots bringing you food and stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
It feels contemporary. I mean, there's a few things that do look futuristic, but they didn't overdo it on that. And I think that might be why I got into the movie a tad bit more. Acting-wise, I'm a little bit mixed on the acting. I thought Hugh Jackman was kind of all right as the con man manager, but the problem I had with him was I kind of found him to be theatrical with the arms. I mean, not with boxing, but it's like whenever he's talking to somebody, he's like doing like this, like, Max, look at me, okay, look. I'm not a good father to you. You know, he's doing his arms like this. You're like, what do you want from me? What do you want from me? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at his performances from the X-Men movies and even something like The Fountain, it's a little bit more restrained. But here, he's so mobile when he's talking to people at times.
Because
He's got his arms on his hips and all this stuff.
Yeah, because I've never been a real huge Hugh Jackman fan. A lot of his movies I never cared for. Like, well, I never got into the X-Men series that much at all. I mean, I read the comic books, but I never liked the movies. They were kind of disappointing to me.
Well, I liked some of them. I mean, did you think he was theatrical, or did you enjoy his performance at all?
He seemed the same way he was in the X-Men movies to me, basically.
Oh, okay.
I mean, yeah, he was theatrical, but I wouldn't say he was like too over the top. He was just standard.
Okay, and Max, I had a mixed reaction to his son Max. Sometimes I found he's supposed to be 11 years old, but sometimes he sounds like he's in his mid-teens. I don't know if that's how the script was originally written, but sometimes I found him annoying. Sometimes I didn't. But I think that, you know, in the movie, the two of them don't get along at first, and over the course of the movie, they bond through this robot boxing. So I thought it was nice. They're like an odd couple.
Yeah, plus with the situation that's going on and everything, I won't spoil it. But with, like, there's sort of a custody battle over him going on and whatnot.
Yeah. So there's some drama there. I mean, I think it's a good, entertaining action movie. I mean, it's entertaining. It's got some action. I mean, it's not gonna you know, make you think too much.
Yeah.
You know, but I think a lot of people, it's relevant to a lot of people today, I guess, because when I watched this movie in the movie theater, the audience were clapping and hollering and getting into the fights.
Yeah.
I think it's because the theme of the smaller robots are getting knocked down by something big. You could argue that that's a metaphor for you know, the people are constantly getting knocked down by something bigger, especially, but they're getting back up. It's like what's been going on with, you know, the Wall Street protests and the economy going on in this country. So, you know,
and
unions.
And then of course there's the big final end that's got, you know, everybody on their feet. It's like typical movies. It was like the final fight and everything. It's like Rocky or like the Mighty Ducks films or all that, the final game, and no matter who's the winner, everybody's happy and all that type of stuff. You know, you see that a lot, that there was nothing new there.
Yeah.
I basically figured out what was going to happen. So
yeah, I gotta admit, sometimes I did too. But I mean, it's a decent action movie. I'd probably give this maybe a mild see it in theaters verdict. I mean, it's probably an experience you can have with the audience and maybe with the family. I guess